What's up, guys? It's Ashton coming at you. Thursday's Butch. Going on this week's topic, which is sex, the serious, the getting down to the nitty-gritty kind of stuff. This is gonna be a bit of a challenge for me to talk about, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of this stuff I haven't talked about with much of anyone. Maybe one person, yeah, I think, who I talk about this stuff with. But, here goes nothing, I guess. So the first question was, how important is sex in a relationship? I think sex is very important. I think it's not the end-all be-all, as a lot of people have said, but it is definitely, I think it can definitely make or break a relationship easily. I think you really just have to be able to connect with your partner on that kind of physical level, because it's an emotional level too, you know, like, I think there's definitely a difference between just sex and, you know, making love, and when you can, you know, make love with someone, that's a really important, intense connection that I just can't imagine not having in a relationship that, you know, is a serious, long-term monogamous relationship. And if you don't, personally, if I didn't have that, it probably would be a deal breaker. Second of all, I guess, is kind of talking about our own identities, if we're the aggressor, submissive types. I definitely fall into the more aggressive category. As a butch, I don't think all butches necessarily have to be aggressive, but I just happen to be as part of my butch identity. I am definitely the more dominant type. But I'm also flexible. I mean, like, it just depends, you know, I don't always have to make the first move, and sometimes I like it when, you know, femmes or, you know, girls otherwise make the first move. It really depends on the situation, but in the bedroom, definitely, I do tend to enjoy being the more dominant, and I guess you could say I default to dominant, but I'm flexible, you know, I like to, you know, it's always good to change things up every once in a while, but I do tend to like women who are, I guess, more submissive by default, but definitely not, you know, I guess, a pushover or anything. I definitely want someone with, like, some fire who's definitely gonna bring something to the experience. I don't want anyone who's just gonna, like, lay there, you know, that's not cool. I'm not gonna enjoy it if I'm not really interacting with someone, you know. So I guess last part's turn-ons and turn-offs. I definitely like, I guess, sort of outside the bedroom. A girl definitely has to be intelligent. I mean, I'm sorry, but if a girl just can't even hold a conversation, that's just not attractive. It's just not. That's just not my cup of tea. I mean, you don't have to be interested in the same things I'm interested in by any stretch, but you gotta be able to hold some kind of conversation. As far as, and, you know, funny and, you know, entertaining, just sort of easygoing, not taking too much too seriously. Definitely, physically, girl has to be well dressed for me to really get my attention, because that, I'm very much so a detail person, so when a girl, like, does that in clothing, like, accessories match, the shoes, or whatever, you know, whatever, doesn't have to be a particular style, as long as that whatever style she's wearing really works for her, and obviously that she, like, put some thought into it, you know, and made it look good, that's, to me, that's hot. That's really hot. And I definitely try to be a well-dressed butch, because I just think, I just like being well-dressed, just kind of who I am. I guess I also like women, I'm pretty flexible with kind of women I like. I've never liked, generally don't like women with really long hair, but it all depends on the girl. You know, I do tend to like girls with, like, shoulder-length hair or shorter, but obviously, like, feminine haircuts, if that makes sense. But it's, you know, it's not a deal-breaker. It totally depends on the person, because some girls with longer hair have that sort of, like, you know, tough attitude that I think is sexy. So it's definitely a case-by-case basis. I guess in the bedroom, like, mainly Butch talked about, I definitely like girls with, like, femme attitude, you know, who are submissive, but who know how to, you know, get what they want, and they kind of naturally know or into what I want, because that's one of, I guess you could say I'm kind of pretty much a stone butch. I'm not into penetration. I don't like that. It just doesn't, I just don't enjoy it. There's no, I don't know if there's any sort of psychological reason behind it. I don't think so. It's just something I've kind of discovered over the past couple of years that I just don't really enjoy it. You know, it's not terrible or anything, but it's just not my cup of tea. So I've come to recognize, you know, especially in the last year, that being with a girl who's okay with that and can accept that is very important to me. It's, you know, especially in terms of a long-term serious relationship, you know, I really need to be able to be with someone who's okay with me being the way I am sexually, and that's being, you know, so butch, and, like, apparently some of the other butches on this channel, I do strap, and that works for me. It works really well, and I actually, you know, really discovered this pretty recently, and it was one of the best things I've discovered, because it's the first time I really connected with myself, I guess, or found a way to connect with myself in a way that worked for me, and that's really awesome. In fact, I'm going to include some links after I get done with this to the Sugar Butch blog that I mentioned last time in my last video. She writes 2 or 3 specific entries about, for lack of a better word, butch cock, and identifying with that, and the fact that identifying with that doesn't mean that you want to be a guy, and it doesn't have to mean that you're trans, which I really like, because I think that's something I struggled with for a long time, and do still struggle with, because I know there are a lot of lesbian women out there, especially at my age, at least around here, who are not interested in using toys and think that it's really weird to want to be with someone, to be with a butch with a strap on, which sucks. But I guess that's just how people are. I don't know if it's just at this age or people where I am at this age, but that's just kind of the atmosphere. People seem to think that's strange, I guess, or undesirable, or too much, or like, oh, you just want to quote unquote fuck like a man, pardon the language. And that's, you know, I don't appreciate that attitude towards my sexuality, because that's not the case. And to be with someone who understands that is definitely going to be a very important thing to me for the next, you know, serious relationship I get into, or even the next, like, serious sex partner I have. You know, people have to be able to work with me on that. I guess that's it. I don't have my timer right now, so I'm probably gonna go over. Maybe, I'm not sure how long this is. So I guess I'll go ahead and cut it off there. But yeah, I'll post those links up, and I encourage everyone to take a look at them. They're awesome. And I guess that's it. Hope everyone's having a fine, sexy week, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace, guys.